Hi there, I am Russ Horn, and I want to show you how to add an indicator to an indicator. Now, this is pretty cool. You can get pretty creative with this. So I'm going to start with an RSI. Now, I've got a relative strength index indicator at the bottom of my chart, and maybe I want to add a moving average to this RSI. Now, the way to go about doing that is through the navigator window. You can't do it through any other way of applying an indicator. I've got to click my navigator window and then choose an indicator from the indicators list and drag it into the other window. In this case, it'll be the RSI. So I want to add a moving average, for example, to an existing RSI. So I'm going to go to trend. I'm going to find moving average, and now I'm going to drag it into the window and drop it there. But I don't want to hit OK just yet, because if I do, I'll do that. I'll hit OK, and we see that it applies it to the price. Now, we don't want it to the price. We want it to the indicator. So I'm going to drag it into the window, and the properties box will pop up. So I'm going to change the settings. I'll go 5, shift to be 0, and I want to make sure it's a different color so I don't get confused with it. So I'll make it blue, and we'll give it a solid line. Now, the important part is to apply to the previous indicator's data. I don't want to apply to close, open, high, low, median, anything like this. I'm going to apply it to the previous indicator's data. Now, if you try to apply it from any other place other than the navigator window, this option won't be there for you. So previous indicators data, and then I'll click OK. And now we have a moving average applied to the RSI. Now, there's something else that we can do. Let's say I want to have two different CCIs together. So I'll do that. I'll delete these. But before I do, I just want to show that we've got both of the indicators in the window here. We've got the RSI 14, the moving average 5. So it shows us that we have two different indicators. So I'm going to delete these, and I'm going to apply a CCI. So I'm looking for an oscillator, commodity channel index, drag that onto the chart, make it red. I'm going to make this one a 50 period, and then I'll hit OK. So now I've got an oscillator, the CCI, underneath the window. Now I'm going to add a different period commodity channel index to the 50 period one. So I'm going to drag and drop that into the window. I'm going to choose previous indicators data. I don't want to do that this time. I'm going to drag it into the window. I'm going to change the setting to 14. I'm going to change the color to blue so that it's different. And now I don't need to use the previous indicator's data because it's not taking the information from that indicator. It's just a different period setting that I want to have laid over top of the 50. When you're using a moving average, you want to apply it to the previous indicator's data. But when I'm adding a second of the same indicator, I don't need to do that. So I'll just go close and then hit OK. Now, there's something we're going to notice here. I will go back into this and I'll darken up this 0 line. And I want to show you something that's quite important. Silver, I'll make it black. And then the red one, silver, I'll make it black. And that gives me the 0 line. Now, if I scroll back and forth, we'll see that those 0 lines, they're going to separate. They're going to get close together. They are not going to be very user-friendly if you are looking at both indicators' data. And generally, you'll do this for the purpose of a crossover of some kind. And that's what I'm going to be using the 50 and the 14 period CCIs for. I want to see crossovers. One of them is trend and one of them is signal. But I can't get the right information if they are not positioned on top of each other properly. So what I want to do is go into the first one, double click on the CCI, and I want to give it a fixed minimum and a fixed maximum. And what I'll do is click on this and we'll go minus 250. And the maximum will go plus 250. And I'll hit OK. And I'll do the exact same thing with the second CCI. Fixed minimum minus 250 and the fixed maximum plus 250 and hit OK. So that means now that we've got the high and the low of the indicator window being the same, and they're fixed, so they're not going to change. So if I scroll back and forth now, we see that we do not have two CCIs that are starting to fluctuate up and down and around. The zero level will remain at the zero level. So the way I would use this is the red is the trend. So once the red is below the zero line, I'm looking for the 14 to pop above and then back below. So I'd get a short signal in here. And if I'm looking for the CCI to be above the zero line, I'm looking for the 14 period to drop below and then come back above. So I get a long signal in here and I get a long signal in here as this is the case. Now, that's just a tiny little system. But this is how you would add one indicator to another indicator. If you're adding moving averages, you want to add to previous indicators data. If you're adding two of the same indicators, and you can do it with different ones as well. You can even add an RSI or any other type of indicator to a different indicator. So let's get rid of the 14 period. And now I will add an RSI. Relative strength index, drop it in there. I'll do a 5 period. Red will make it green so that we have different colors. And again, I want the fixed minimum and the fixed maximums. In this case, they're checked because the RSI likes to use the 0 and the 100 levels. So I'll hit OK. So we'll get a 50 level for the RSI running through the middle and a 0 level for the CCI running through the middle. But as I adjust this, because those minimums and maximums are fixed, we are not going to get any movement of the indicators. A lot of individuals, a lot of traders that try to apply indicators forget that fixed minimum and maximum, and it causes havoc with their signals. As soon as the candles move, the signals that did happen change because the indicators are bouncing around too much. Now, you can do moving averages on the chart this way as well. I have a 45 period, so I'm going to thicken this one up just so we can see it. So we've got this red 45 period. I'm going to shorten it a little bit just so that we can illustrate this better. So I've got a 10 period moving average. Now, I can do the same thing with a moving average on the chart. This is one you might want to try because you can get some pretty interesting results from this. So I'm going to drag and drop that onto the chart. And again, I want to close to previous indicators data. So I'm going to put in the same 10, color it green. But this time it's a 10 exponential moving average of a 10 exponential moving average because it is set to previous indicators data. So if I click OK, now this moving average doesn't consider the price, it considers the previous 10 moving average. So if you want to do that, you can definitely get some really interesting results. If I change the setting of the first moving average, 20 periods for example, you'll notice that the second moving average will also change because now it is a 10 moving average of the 20 moving average. So give it a try, see what you think, and you can come up with some pretty interesting indicators. You can fabricate your own this way, make indicators that nobody's ever seen.